Welcome students. In this lecture you will be introduced with certain basic electronic components and one experiment that we'll see, which is on full wave bridge rectifier with capacitor. The objective of this lecture is to familiarize with the name of different electronic components. Basically I will show you how they physically look like, so that you can at least connect them whenever it is required. You can at least identify those electronic components if you see in the circuits. Function of these components that we'll see, and what is rectification and what are the different ways by which rectification can be done, that we'll also see. And finally one bridge full wave bridge rectification circuit will make. That circuit will see that how full wave bridge rectification circuit is made and then how it works. And finally we'll see that the characteristic of this rectifier in a particular simulation platform. Okay, so let us start with a very important component, electronic component, which is called diode. Physically, diode look like this, as you can see here. One end you see it's a silvery color and other end is black. The silvery color end is called cathode. That means that end, remember, you have to connect with the negative end of the power source, or you have to connect with the ground, and other end you have to connect with the positive end of the power source or some other power source is there. Okay, so this is the way by which if you connect a diode, then current will flow through the diode in this direction, and diode is called that it is in a forward biased condition. But if you just connect it in an opposite way, that means if you connect this end is with the negative power source and this end with the positive one, then there will be no current through the diode. Okay, so here you can see there is a battery and this is the positive end, and you see this positive end is connected to the anode part and the negative end is connected to the cathode part through this LED. That is why it is okay and the LED is glowing. Similarly here you can see this cathode part is connected to the negative, that is okay, and definitely this anode part is connected to the positive with this load, that is why the LED is glowing. But if you see here, you see that cathode part is connected to the positive end of the battery, that means it is in a reverse bias, so there will be no current flowing through the diode, and that is why you can see it is not glowing. Similarly, if you observe this connection, it is again in a reverse bias condition, and that is why the LED is not glowing. So what is the use of diode? Diode is used in a circuit as a switch. Okay, now see this particular component, resistor. It is very common component, and remember that resistor is mostly used component in the electronic circuits. And here you can see there are different kinds of resistor depending upon their specification. Different types of color bands are there, and depending upon the number of color bands they are also categorized, and these color bands actually give the specification of the resistor, that what is the magnitude of its resistance. Okay, so let us see that how with the color bands we can identify the resistance. Let us take one example. Here you can see there are four, this is a 4-band resistor, where this is the first band. The first band is brown color. So where is the brown in this column? Here is the brown. So brown, if it is in the first band, then it is 1. So you just put 1. Then what is the second color? That is black. So go to the black color in the second band, that corresponds to 0. So just put 0. Then what is the third one? That is yellow. So go to the yellow, and corresponding to third you see this is a multiplier. Okay, so it is a multiplier 10 kilo ohm. So multiply 10 kilo ohm. That means this resistor magnitude is this. So 10 into 10 kilo ohm, that means 100 kilo ohm. This is what is the resistance. And what is this fourth band? The fourth band indicates the tolerance. Here you can see the fourth band indicates the tolerance, that if you, what is this, if this is golden, you see that it is a 5% tolerance. That means this magnitude that is the specification of the resistance, it may vary plus minus 5%. This is what is the meaning of the tolerance. Okay. So what is the use of the resistor? Resistors are used in a circuit so that if in a component, if the current is limited, and if you want to reduce that current so that the component will not damage, in that case what we do, we connect a resistor in series with that component so that the current value decreases and that component will not damage. Now another very important component is the capacitor, and you can see commonly used capacitors in the electronic circuits are the ceramic capacitor, electrolytic capacitor. Ceramic capacitor, as you can see, they are non-polarized. That means there is no cathode or anode. You can connect with any one of them. And here in electrolytic capacitor, you can see that there is one anode and one cathode. And cathode you can always identify through this black color line. Okay, so that, remember, is the cathode, and you have to connect with the negative side of the source. So capacitor, the use of the capacitor, remember, capacitor tries to smoothen the voltage in a circuit. So this is the main function of the capacitor, though there are other functions like starting of a motor and all that, but basically we are going to explore this particular application of the capacitor, that it smoothen the voltage. Here you see the LED or the light emitting diode, and again you see that it has a cathode and anode legs, and you see that cathode is the shorter one or anode is the longer one. This is the way physically you have to understand that which one is anode and which one is cathode. Now remember, the shorter one is the cathode. Another way you can see that it is actually circular, but one end is bent like this. That means a flat end is there, and this flat end corresponding to the cathode side. Okay, so if this flat end is there in an LED, you will understand that corresponding to that leg is basically the cathode, and the other one is anode, because sometimes the legs are almost similar. It is difficult to identify which one is longer. So in that case, this flat surface always indicates the cathode. Okay. Here you can see that with a 3-volt battery, this LED is connected, and you can see the anode, the longer one, is connected with the positive, and the shorter one, which is the cathode, is connected with the negative. So it is glowing. But here you can see when you connect this LED with a 6-volt, then you see a resistance is connected in a series. The reason is very simple, because the current limit of the LED is in the order of say 20-25 milliampere. Okay, so if the current is more than 20 milliampere through this LED, then this LED will burn. So you cannot allow more than 20 milliampere. So if you connect a larger voltage, definitely larger current will pass through this LED. So to avoid the damage, okay, what we do, we connect a resistor. If you connect a resistor in series, then definitely the current that is flowing in the circuit will reduce, and the current through this LED will be below this 20 milliampere. So the LED is not going to burn even if you are connected with a 6-volt. So definitely if you want to connect it with a 12-volt, the amount of resistance that is required to save this LED will be more. Okay. LED can be used as indicator in many circuits. Okay. Now coming to the transistor. Transistor is a very important component, and as you can see, physically they look like this, and it has 3 legs. You can see 1, 2, 3, and these 3 legs corresponding to its base, emitter and collector. Okay, so by controlling this base, basically you can change this collector current. Okay, so if you put that 0 voltage in the base, then you will get 0 current in the collector. So basically this base is kind of a control valve by which you can control the collector current. So if you increase the base voltage, then the current will also increase in the collector. Okay, so the idea, if you can compare with a water flow analogy, suppose this is a tank. some water is there, and there is a valve connected with this pipe, and there is a tap through which the water is coming out. So here this tap where from you are getting the water is basically the collector. Okay, so this is kind of an output that you are getting in the collector, and this tank where some water is there is like an emitter. Okay, and the valve that is connected in the pipe, by controlling that valve you can actually control at the output, right, collector. So this valve is like base. Okay, so by controlling the base, basically you are getting the collector output. Okay, so if you put the 0 base voltage, then you will get no output. So transistors can also be act as a switch, or transistor can also be acts as amplifier, because by controlling base you can increase the collector current also. Okay, so these are the application of the transistors, but in this lecture I am not going to explain the details of how transistor works and all that. Okay, here you see another very important component, that is breadboard. If you look at the construction of the breadboard, there are 2 channels at the top and there are 2 channels at the bottom. These top and bottom channels are called the power lines. These are called power lines. Here you can see one power line is shown here, that red and blue, and this red, all these points, all these holes, they are internally connected by the conductor. So that means if through which if you give 5 volt here, say if you give 5 volt here, then if you draw something from here you will get 5 volt, because all these are connected internally along the horizontal direction. So along this direction they are connected, similarly along this direction they are connected. So this is true for this top 2 and the bottom 2. These are called power lines. Similarly here you see, if you the connection, these are called the component lines. Here the connection is like this. They are not along this length they are connected, they are connected along this. Okay, but these 2 are not connected, they are connected along this way. Okay, similarly they are connected along this way in this region, but there is no connection between E and F. Okay, so this is the internal connection of the breadboard. What is the use of breadboard? Breadboard is used to hold the different electronic components, and because of its own internal connections, lot of much wire connections are not required. You can avoid lot of wires to connecting different parts. Now coming to the rectifier. Remember, what is rectifier? Rectifier is a device by which we can convert alternating current into direct current. This is the simple definition of what is rectifier. So rectifier is a device by which AC can be converted into DC. Now what are the different types of rectifier? The different types of rectifiers, it can be half wave rectifier or it can be full wave rectifier. Again, full wave rectifiers can be center tap rectifier, as you can see here, or it can be bridge rectifier. Remember, bridge rectifier is also a full wave rectifier. So both these are full wave rectifier. Here this is basically the center tap rectifier that has been shown, and the bridge rectifier that we'll see in the next page. So first you see what is the half wave rectifier. So here in the half wave rectifier, you can see in the circuit only one diode has been used. In a center tap rectifier, you will find it is full wave rectifier that is produced with the help of 2 diodes. And in a bridge rectifier, you will find you require the 4 diodes to make a full wave rectifier. Now you see that how it works. Let us consider at a particular half cycle. Here is the AC input. You can see this one is the transformer, and then this is the resistor where you are getting the output. Now here let us consider at a half cycle. Here it is plus and here it is minus, and at that time this diode is in forward bias, so current will flow in this direction. Okay, so in this way the circuit will be completed. Okay, so you will get current in the half cycle. But since it is AC cycle, in the next half cycle the direction of the current will change. So this end will become negative and say this end will become positive. At that time when it will become negative, you see this diode will be in a reverse bias, so there will be no current flow through this diode, and that is why you don't get any current at the output. But again when this will become positive, then you will get current. So what will be the output? Output will be like this. In the first half cycle you will get current, then you do not get any current, then in the next half cycle you will get current, then you do not get any current. So in this way at the output you are getting DC voltage, that is okay, but you are getting half wave rectification, not the full wave. Okay, so this is what is called the half wave rectification. Now coming to the full wave rectification, you see here there is one connection where full wave rectification has been shown, where there is a transformer. Let us consider for the first half cycle what is happening. So first half cycle, let us consider this is plus, this is minus, this end is plus, and this end is say minus. Okay, now what will happen in the first half cycle? This is plus, so this diode will be in a forward bias, so current will flow in this direction. Okay, so here you can see the direction of current across the load. So this is the circuit, and at that time you see this is negative, so there will be no current flowing through this diode because this diode is in a reverse bias condition. Now consider in the next half cycle what will happen. The next half cycle, definitely the sign will change. If the sign changes, then what will happen? Suppose at that time this will become negative, this part will become positive, this part will become negative, and this part will become positive. Now you see this is negative, that is why this diode is in reverse bias. Okay, but this is positive, so this diode is now in forward bias. So what will happen? So current will flow in this way, and you see in the both half cycle the current is flowing through the load in the same direction, so you are getting a DC. Okay, so you are getting a DC current in the both half cycle. So at the output you will get this kind of a full wave rectification. Okay, here it is the voltage and here it is the time. But this is called a center tap rectifier. There is a chance of leakage if there is a potential difference occurs between these two. So this is not so efficient as the bridge rectifier is. So bridge rectifier is the most efficient one for the rectification purpose. Now we will see that how bridge rectifier works. So this is what is the circuit of a bridge rectifier. Here you can see the transformer, here the high voltage AC source is there, and that becomes the low voltage with the transformer ratio. Let us consider for a half cycle this portion is positive and this portion is negative. Then what will happen? That current will flow in this direction, and you see this is in a forward bias condition, so current will flow, and here is basically your resistance or output you are measuring here. So this is what is the direction of current, and it will go in this way and complete the circuit. Okay, now consider the next half cycle. What will happen? Next half cycle this will become negative and this will become positive. At that time you see that when this end, if you consider from this end, that current will flow in this direction, and this is in a forward bias, so current will flow in this direction, and again you see it is going through the load in the same direction, so it is DC, and you see it is in a forward bias. So in this way the loop will be completed. So what we will get? We will get this kind of a DC, full wave rectification across the load. Okay, but there is a problem. The problem is we are getting full wave rectification, we are getting DC voltage, that is okay, but the problem is there is lot of ripples there, right? Because we want this kind of a DC voltage, that is voltage is constant, same throughout the time. So then that will be better. Definitely this kind of ripples are not intended. So what we can do to avoid all these ripples? How can we reduce these ripples? Okay, to reduce this we use the capacitor. As you know, the capacitor is used in a circuit to smoothen the voltage. So with the help of capacitor we will try to get this kind of a circuit. Let us see. Here you can see with the load, one capacitor is connected in parallel, and when the capacitor is connected in parallel, if you see the output, that output actually shown in this diagram with a black line. Okay, this black line is showing the output when the capacitor is there, and the dotted purple line which is showing basically if there was no capacitor. Okay, so if there was no capacitor, you can see that there were a lot of ripples present, but when there is capacitor present, then the ripples are not there, and here you can see this kind of output voltage you are going to get, respectively smoother voltage. What is actually happening? You see that this region that I am showing here with the red line is basically the capacitor at that time is discharging. Let us consider the capacitor is charged in this region, and then what happens that when this voltage here is gradually going down, that means here the voltage is gradually going down, then the capacitor which is already charged is now discharged, and since it will discharge, it will try to keep up the voltage. It will not allow to voltage to go down. So in this way, the main intention of the capacitor, when capacitor is present, it will always try to keep the same voltage. So that is why during that period, capacitor will not allow to fall the voltage here at the output. So capacitor will itself discharge and try to maintain the voltage. But after the full discharge of the capacitor, then again capacitor will charge, and this is what is the charging period. Then again capacitor will discharge and try to maintain the voltage, so voltage will not fall down like this. So in this way, by discharging and charging, the capacitor is trying to smoothen the voltage there. Okay. Now here you can see this simple circuit, that here some source AC is there, here this is showing the transformer. Here you can see it is like 9:1 kind of a ratio is there. The important thing that you try to observe here is this is what is the diode. You see, this is one diode. These are the physical diodes you see in the circuit. These are the 4 diodes present, which are connected according to a bridge rectifier that you have seen. Here you can see the capacitor is connected in parallel, and here you can see that output the resistance is present in the form of an LED. Okay, so this is what is the bridge rectification circuit, and it is connected with some oscilloscope, and in oscilloscope we can see the characteristics of the voltage that we have just explained, that we will be able to see. Suppose this capacitor, when it is not connected, when the capacitor is not there, at that time what you will see. First of all, let us consider, if you put the probe of the oscilloscope here it is the input. So what you are going to get? You are going to get probably this kind of a AC supply. That is what is the input. Now when the capacitor is not there, when the capacitor is not present, let us consider, at that time if you put the probe here of the then what you will see? You will see maybe this kind of a ripple pulsating DC. Okay, so now if you add the capacitor, then what you will see? If you add the capacitor, then you will see this kind of a respectively smoother voltage. Okay, so this is what is the characteristics that we generally observe in oscilloscope. Here what we are going to do, that in a simulator we want to see these characteristics. Okay, So for this simulation we are going to use that LT Spice. Okay, so you can easily download this LT Spice from the net and install it in your computer, and you can do this simulation. Now let me show you how can we make the circuit in the LT Spice platform. So this is the LT Spice platform. You can see, go to the file, click on new schematic, then you choose the different components that you require. Here is the component. If you click on it, you will get the different components. Here you can see the diode, inductor, capacitor, resistors also all are there. So diode, we require 4 diodes, so just click on it and you just rotate it. To rotate the diode orientation, you press Ctrl plus R. Okay, now you just click. You need 4 diodes, so click 4 times, 1 2 3 4, then you just press escape. Okay, so now what you have to do, you just connect all these diodes with the help of wire. Here click on wire and you connect all these diodes. Okay, press escape. Now you add one voltage source. So go to component and write here voltage. You see that voltage already came, so click on it, so you will get the voltage. Escape. Now what you need a transformer, so use this inductor to make a transformer. Actually there is no transformer here, so click on it. You need another inductor, just rotate it by Ctrl plus R twice, and this is inductor 2. Keep it there and press escape. Now just click on this move tool to just orientation properly. Okay, next you click on escape and connect these two inductor to make a transformer. To make a connection, to couple this to inductor, you just click on the Spice directive and write a one line code, that is K for coupling, L1. K basically indicates the coupling coefficient, space L2. L1 and L2 are basically name of our inductors, space 1. 1 indicates that as if there is no leakage loss. So K value of the coupling coefficient generally from 0 to 1. 1 is the ideal situation, there is no leakage that we are considering. Click OK, and if you click it here, you see that these two dots indicates that these two are now coupled. Okay, next what we require a resistor. So click on a resistor, press escape, and now you just connect all this with the help of wire. So take connection from here, then connect all these and press escape. So all the connections we have made. Now finally what we do, we just assign the values. Right click on the voltage, click on advance, choose sine wave. Let us consider this offset is 0, amplitude is say 230 volt is the power source, and frequency say 50 hertz. Okay, and the series resistance here you just put say 0.1 milliohm. So 0.1 m corresponds to milli, ohm is already there. Okay, so we have assigned it. So using the move tool you just shift it there. Okay, then you just assign the values of the press escape and assign the values of the inductors. Suppose we want a turn ratio of say 10:1 in the transformer. Okay, we want to step down by 10 times, so 230 volt at the secondary it will become 23 volt. Okay, so for a 10 turns ratio we have to use the inductor ratio square of that you have to remember. Okay, so remember inductor ratio will be square of the turns ratio. So what we do, right click here in L1 and put the inductance value is say 10 microhenry. 10 U corresponds to microhenry, and here in L1 you just put say 0.1. so here you just observe that what we have used is that ratio of these two is 100. That means the square root of that is basically the turns ratio. So 10:0.1, that means 100:1, that means 10:1 is the ratio. Now you go to the resistor and right click and put the resistor value as 1 kilo ohm. So ohm is already there, write 1k, press OK, and you just make two grounds here. You just make it ground and ground these two, press escape. Okay, so we have given all the values. Now in the simulate, go to the end simulation, and here you give the stopping time say 50 milliseconds. For 50 milliseconds suppose we want to observe, click OK, and now click on run and let us see the simulation. So here you can see, first if we want to see what is the input voltage, so click on it here. This probe is connected here, and if you click on it you will get the input voltage. Okay, so now if you want to see, just add another plane, and there suppose we want to see the output. You see the output is like this. Okay, and here you can see, if you click on it you see that what is the voltage. You see the voltage is 224. It is expected to be 230, but 224, certain losses because of the series resistance and all that. Here if you click on it you see what is the maximum voltage you are getting at the output. What you are getting, okay, at the output you are getting around 21 volt. Okay, around 21 volt. So 21 volt, it is expected to be 23 volt. Okay, some losses already taken place, so 23 volt. Then through the diode some voltage is also lost, around 0.7 volt per diode. Okay, so for a particular direction it is two diodes will operate at the same time, so around 1.5 volt will be less. So around 21 volt you are getting at the output, the peak one, and you can see lot of ripples are there. Now suppose you want to change it, you want to put some capacitor here, and you want to see that what is the effect. Just put the capacitor, press escape, connect the wire, press escape. So now you just give some value to the capacitor, say 10 microfarad. Okay, so now let us see that how the ripples will change. So click on run, and you see now the ripples are like this. So as expected. Okay, this is the discharging, this is the charging. And now you can also play with the capacitance value, and you can see that instead of 10 microfarad, if you put say 100 microfarad, then what is the effect. Click on OK and click on run. You see now the output voltage is much smoother. So at the output, with the help of large value of capacitance, you can see you can get a smooth output voltage. So these characteristic curves, their magnitudes and everything that we actually see in the oscilloscope, here with the help of this simulator also we can see all these things. Okay, thank you.